I think that's a really good point, because at the same time, rap was getting more extreme in the 90s and becoming more mainstream just when death metal was breaking through.
Right.
And I think it's interesting that rap broke new ground in that same sense of talking about the streets, talking about drugs and the struggles that the musicians were going through. And somehow rap seemed to prevail and is still, 10 times more successful today than it was then. But death metal kind of didn't really seem to get that fighting chance. And it's interesting that you see mainstream fans, singing along the lyrics about the most extreme types of violence and drugs and sex and big booty hoes or whatever. But it's an interesting comparison that I think about a lot. I wonder where those two parallels started and then split apart.
Well, it split apart from the very beginning anyway, because you got to remember that hip hop is a simple. It's simple to make hip hop. Okay, so with that said, the labels have their producers, not even the MCs, but they have their producers who can easily recreate that type of music and put it out themselves and just choose and pick artists off the street to rap on it, and then you have a number one hit right there. They have that already in their system.
Right.
Okay?
That's true.
No one in the industry, no one in the music industry, no record label in existence has the staff who can take a band like ourselves or any of these bands and tell them, hey, let me see your guitar, man. I want to show you this. I would like you to play this way, or the drums this way. And actually, we wrote a whole song for you to go ahead and do. And go out. They can't do that.
Right.
So we're up to our own means in terms of bringing them the music, staying just in the poverty line enough to where we have no responsibilities at home, so that we can continue to just chase the dream and go out on these lackluster tours and be away from home for months to come back more broke than you were when you left. We have to stay like in purgatory.
Right, in limbo.
So then there's simple reasons for that. Like I said, is because nobody in the music industry they don't own what we have.
Right.
That's why they can't continue to make great money off of it, reproduce artists, and use the same producer and just keep circulating bands out. You can't do that because you don't have any access or skill to know what in the world you're even touching or dealing with to begin with. So we killed ourselves in that sense because we're too unique for an old industry to evolve for us.
It's interesting though, but I mean, I think it's like a catch-22. As much as you might say, well, you said that we killed ourselves. I think it's also, you brought up a good point in that, technology evolves every job, every industry, and gets rid of jobs, but also creates new jobs. When you're playing any type of technical music, just like you said with classical music, it's not something that can be just, plugged into a computer and recreated by a machine. Right. So
assembly line music at all.
It's interesting. As much as it might shoot us in the foot, it's also the thing that might keep, it might be our lifeline at the same time.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. It did shoot us in the foot, but it was a lesson that we needed in order to recognize that it's time for us as the musicians, being that they can't play it for us, we're actually the strongest part of the industry then.
That's an amazing point, Mike. That's awesome.